Direct from South Beach, this is the Live Wire.
Okay, as you guys probably know, because we've been trying to pound it into your heads, that voting time is coming up for the commission seats and for the mayor of Miami Beach. Now, Wire, we're going to have official endorsements, and if you'll want to see Andrews, pick up this week's Wire and you'll see who he's endorsing. But here at the Live Wire, we're going to give every one of the candidates a forum. So we went to the National, out by the pool, and Charles Schaub talked to some of the candidates, nice and politically charged. This is one of the most emotionally charged and one of the closest and most heated campaigns in recent years for all the seats. I mean, it's really exciting. Miami Beach is at a really interesting turning point right now, and we've got to make sure that the people in charge are going to keep the city growing in our best interests. So listen to Charles Schaub talk to David Dermer, who was instrumental in the Save Miami Beach amendment that happened on June 3rd, which had unprecedented voter turnout for a single item ballot. And he's also going to talk to Simone Cruz, who appears to be a very strong candidate. So pay close attention, listen to what they have to say. Over the next 4 weeks until voting time, we're going to have 2 to 3 candidates on every week talking. So don't make any decisions until you've heard everyone's side, but then go out and vote and take a part in your future.
Good evening. My name is Charles Schaub. I'm the chairman of an organization called Save Miami Beach. I want to thank the people here at Live Wire for providing us the opportunity to present to you the 4 candidates who we have endorsed for election to the City Commission this fall. We are going to be here at Live Wire for the next 4 weeks, and during that 4 weeks we will interview all 4 of the candidates, and hopefully it will prove to you to be an interesting and enlightening introduction to those that we believe are the best for the beach. I would like, if I might, first to explain a bit why it is that we chose to endorse, and then from there proceed on to introduce the candidates. We, as you know, worked to put onto the ballot a question which would provide to the voters the opportunity to determine whether or not the waterfront in Miami Beach could be upzoned. Fortunately, I think for the beach, the voters overwhelmingly approved our referendum, and we are hopeful that that began a new day for the beach. However, we've watched over the last 4 months, and we have seen not real much response from the city administration and the current city commission to the public demand for effective control over development. And it has caused us some concern that as a result, our effort in June and your vote in June will simply prove to be of no avail at all. So we have determined as a result that we will endorse. This evening I have 2 of the candidates whom we have endorsed, and over the remaining 3 weeks we will introduce the remaining 2 we've endorsed, and then we will repeat again our conversations with the candidates in the 2 weeks and the 2 weeks following. I would like to introduce to you first Simone Cruz. And I will ask Simone Cruz, if he would, to give you just a brief introduction about himself and also explain to you why it is that he has chosen to run for the commission. Simone.
Thank you, Charles. And I'm very happy to be here at Live Wire. And a brief introduction about myself. I'm a resident of Miami Beach for the past 7 years. I did my graduate studies at Johns Hopkins University, at the University of Chicago, and my undergraduate at Rutgers University. I currently have a real estate investment banking firm, and my interest in the beach has been one that grew out of community involvement. I was involved with the zoning board, I was involved in Hispanic Affairs Committee, as well as other local community-based organizations. And the reason I chose to run is that Miami Beach finds itself right now at an interesting crossroads. It's an extremely dynamic city, a city that is going places, but unfortunately I don't think its leaders are in step with the dynamics that the city is demonstrating. And as such, I chose to run because there are issues that need to be dealt with, such as the overdevelopment on the beach, and which is what Save Miami Beach is all about. The other ones have been more with the small business community, with the gay community, if you will, on the beach as well, and its growth, and the fact that the beach really is looking for new dynamic leadership. That's part and parcel the reasons I came in. I think I have a lot to offer, both from a business background as well as from a community background, and I look forward to being on the commission.
Thank you, Simone. And with me also is my predecessor as the chairman of Save Miami Beach, and another of the candidates who we feel will serve our city very well when elected to the commission, David Dermer.
Hello, I'm David Dermer, and I want to thank Livewire. I especially want to thank Andrew Delaplane, who has done an outstanding job and during the referendum was very, very instrumental. As Charles, my successor, had mentioned to you, I was very, very proud to have led the fight for Save Miami Beach against the $1.8 million big lie campaign that Portofino, along with our government, perpetuated. Right now, I hope to get on the inside and clean things up, and that's why I hope that you will help me do that, because I do need your help on November 4th, and I do hope sincerely, that you will vote for David Dermer, punch number 84.
It seems as though after the referendum, effectively every politician, even those who are currently on the commission, and who have permitted every bit of overdevelopment that there has been on the beach in the last 4 years, and who seem not to be particularly interested in keeping overdevelopment from continuing, have all of a sudden adopted the campaign and the view that there should be no overdevelopment. So how is it that you explain that, and just how is it that you will differ from them?
Well, as you know, Charles, it can be smart politics to be able to reinvent yourself after you see 57.5% of the people going the other way. But fortunately, we have organizations like Save Miami Beach, and we have voters in Miami Beach who are bright people who actually trust Save Miami Beach and know where Save Miami Beach has been through their deeds and not just their words. So as they try to wiggle and try in a frantic effort to try and reinvent themselves, the true, and they don't need to be improved because they're as good as it gets, the true reformers are Save Miami Beach, and I'm so proud to have been endorsed by Save Miami Beach and to have been so active in leading Save Miami Beach's fight, because we will continue that fight, and in the end, the commission and the government that has created this crisis will not be able to pretend that it doesn't exist anymore.
And you hit it on the head. Everyone's trying to reinvent themselves, and obviously you're running against an incumbent, and you know the record speaks for itself there. And in my particular race, the record also speaks for itself. I mean, people may try to reinvent themselves, but the record basically states that my opponent voted for the Portofino land swap. So it can't get any clearer than that. So if you're really saying, well, who is for or against development, you have to look at the record. They voted for it. Why? What has changed? And that is my question. What has changed? Well, the only thing that has changed is that the electorate has said, we're not interested in development, so everyone now is going to run in the other direction and say, well, neither are we. It's that sort of attitude. And that's what the defining line here that we have to make. We are for truly controlled development, limiting FARs, and being able to get a more livable Miami Beach. And you can check our records and check our opponent's record and determine from there. I think it speaks for itself.
And another example too is that over 2 years ago, this commission appointed a committee. The sole purpose of this committee was to rezone the city and effectively to try to arrange a new zoning which would effectively reduce the FAR citywide, reduce HIDEP citywide. This committee sat for 2 years, and it didn't do a thing. Didn't produce one suggestion. On the 4th of June, the day after the referendum, all of a sudden, the commission is saying, well, you know, this group better do something. So what do? They spend the next 4 months producing a recommendation which permits 40-story towers. Exactly what it is that the people on the beach determined they didn't want when they voted on the 3rd of June. And they're going to continue this. So that, again, is why it is that we determined that we were going to endorse, because we are quite concerned, given what we've seen during the last 4 months since the referendum passed, what it is that this commission or another commission like it will do when it is that it really is faced with downzoning. It simply won't do it. There isn't overwhelmingly the heart among the power structure that exists in this city today to downzone and to reduce the height. It simply runs counter to what has been the history of this city for the last 20 years. And that's why it makes this election so important. Because we think, having been through this endorsement process and having interviewed all of the candidates, having had extensive questionnaires responded to, that there are 4 candidates that this beach can vote for who will indeed radically change the attitude of this city government, both towards development and also towards how it is that residents are treated.
For too long in this city's history, we've had a situation where we have had people come here and view the city as a place to make a fast buck, cash out, and leave the residents holding the byproduct of their fast buck. And in the form of overdevelopment of the city, it's been, the byproduct of that has been lack of parking, traffic, congestion, the things that infringe on all our quality of life, because that's what this election is about. And specifically, what we must do is we must get in there, we must be vigorous, and we must get legislation passed that's going to have real height limitations and real density restrictions, because we're a community all together. And we need to understand that if there is going to be a large high-rise built, it will be at the expense of the rest of the community. And it will also be at the expense of smaller developers that want to use private money.
We are, for instance, this evening sitting here at the National Hotel, which is a spectacular example of what can be done in preserving what was here before and in restoring the context of this beach and the development on it. Both Simone and David have very strong feelings, of course, about how it is this beach should be developed. It is certainly one of the major reasons that we would hope that you would vote for them and support them. And so I would like for them to explain to you exactly what their vision is of the future of this city and how development should take place, and to give to you an idea of when on the commission what they will do in order to move this city and its administration towards recognizing what it is residents want in the development of this city. Simone, if you would start.
Well, development is, right now it's not to be taken, as you said, as a negative connotation. There's some very good development. There's the Delano, there's the National, there's the Raleigh, and a host of other projects that have been developed. Now, put into context, you have to say, well, what kind of development do we want on this beach? Well, we want the kind of development that is going to give a quality of life where people don't feel overwhelmed, where it's not going to tie up the traffic and make the parking, which is already a nightmare, that much worse. So what we need to do, and the vision I have of the beach, is one where we continue to refurbish old buildings, and where there needs new ones to be put up, that we put it within the norm that exists currently in the areas. That is, don't bring something in that is going to just stand out and consequently overwhelm what you have in an area. There's well-defined development on this beach. Let's conform to that norm.
Yes, we want to thank Livewire for permitting us the opportunity to appear and to introduce to you the 4 candidates whom we have endorsed. Those 4 candidates are Simone Cruz and David Dermer, who are with me this evening, and also Warren Stam and Spencer Ige, who will be with us next week.